This story that I'm about to bring to you is basically showing yet again that the colonizing jealousy is rampant no matter what age or gender or sexual orientation or what have you, when they display their notion that black people, or in this case, mixed people, even though they have some black in them, are starting to excel past their low expectations of us. On the left picture, you have this man by the name of Drake Johnson, who, as you can see, he's wearing a Harvard hoodie because he was accepted into Harvard University. On the right, you have this pathetic piece of shit by the name of George Clayton, who looks every bit like George Franklin without the wig. I mean, Ben Franklin without the wig. I said George Franklin, but you know what I meant. And this man, he is a former Texas official, and it doesn't surprise me. But anyway, Drake Johnson posted up on his Twitter account that he got accepted into Howard University. He's from California. And it's been a lot of stories where we've had a lot of black people, or you can say people who have some melanin in them, we're going to use that in his case, who have been accepted to multiple universities. And I'm talking about like a lot of them. I've done stories where, that one boy got accepted into so many schools, and there's been some others that I didn't get a chance to talk about because it's so many. And I believe he was accepted into 10 schools, but he ultimately chose to go to Harvard. But this man on the right saw his tweet and responded to him and said, "Congrats." And he says, "But I have a question. Were you accepted by merit or by quota?" Basically asking, did he get in because of his good grades and SAT scores, ACT scores, or any extracurricular activities? Or was he accepted because they needed a quote unquote minority number in order for the school to still be in good accreditation standing, financially wise? Because these schools have to have a certain amount of black people, Asians, quote unquote Latinos, and of course a host of whites, because it's a PWI, it's an Ivy League school. Now, one thing that would make me say why he probably said that is because if you remember last year on my original channel, I did a video back in August, and I remember it clear as day, where it said the Harvard incoming freshman class for 2017 was the first time in Harvard's history where there was not one white enrollee or enrolled freshman in that class. All of them were of color, or non-white, I should say. And I'm very sure that pissed a lot of them off for the first time ever in that school's history, and I believe it was Harvard University. See, the world around the colonizer is changing, and they cannot adjust to said change. I mean, education wise, job wise, business wise, we already got sports as far as football and basketball down packed, and I'm very sure there are going to be many more along the way. But a lot of places that they have tried to be the gatekeepers of for so long, that most of them for the most part stole from other people, now is in their eyes being infiltrated, including their precious Ivy League schools, i.e. Harvard University. So what I'm going to do is read this transcript that came from one of the articles. It says, a former Texas state official this week questioned a biracial California high school student Harvard acceptance, asking on Twitter if he was admitted by merit or by quota. Drake Johnson tweeted a photo of himself on Wednesday holding his Harvard acceptance letter and sporting the Ivy League University sweatshirt, adding, "It's official, I'm Harvard bound." George Clayton, a former member of the Texas State Board of Education, responded to the tweet, "Congrats. Were you admitted on merit or quota?" Clayton, who says in his Twitter bio that he is again running for the board, declined to comment on the tweet, saying that he has retired from public life. Oh, give me a break. But if he's running for the board again, then why is he retiring from public life? He just contradicted himself. The Marina High School senior responded to Clayton's question with a thank you and a list of his accomplishments. This is one thing I wish he didn't do. See, he went into the white splain territory when he said he started listing his accomplishments. That's one thing I wouldn't do, because at this point I would treat this man as if he was a troll and just blocked him. That's what I would have did. But some people have not worked their way up to that yet. But with some of us is going to take a little bit of time to get to that. Valedictorian, ASB president, world champion, good SAT, and a couple of handfuls of other involvements, so I would think merit, Johnson wrote. Johnson was accepted to 10 schools, including Cornell, Dartmouth, and Brown. He told the Dallas News that he wanted to craft a response to Clayton that would civilly diffuse the situation. I wanted some subtle way to prove him wrong, but not be aggressive. I thought that was the best way to civilly diffuse the situation and clearly show him I was accepted on merit. In case anyone else thinks I just got accepted to fill a quota, I did actually get in based on merit. Johnson's mother slammed Clayton's tweet telling that paper that it was frustrating and racist. Why do you care, and why are you asking that particular question to a kid who was clearly of some type of mixed race? She said that is just so frustrating. Well, to answer his mother, I don't know what the race of his mother is, but I can tell by her response that she's probably white. And to that, I would say to her, the reason why he says this is because even though your son is of mixed ethnicity and he's on the lighter spectrum of things, he will still be seen by their eyes as a black man. Just like they see Colin Kaepernick, a man who clearly has a white mother and a black father biologically, he will still be seen as a black man, and he even carries himself as such today. So in a way, your son just got his wake-up call. A slight one, but a wake-up call nonetheless. But this is just the beginning for him. That's why I say that, I know it's like when it comes to us, a lot of black people don't open their arms to a lot of people who are of mixed ethnicity, and I can understand why, especially when you have a lot of Sage Steels and what's her name? I forget her name. And many others, hell, even Stacey Dash, you can throw her in there too, running around here and, try to straddle the fence. But here's a perfect example of a guy who literally got questioned whether he got accepted into Harvard University based on merit or him just being a number. Now, I know that they won't question other white students to that. And speaking of that, the perfect one that comes to mind is that redheaded white chick last year, the year before, when right around the time when what's his name? Anthony Scalia died, and she was trying to use him to she basically was making a big fuss about getting into that school in Texas and saying that bringing up that whole affirmative action thing. And when they brought up her test scores, it's because she scored lower than all the other students that got in, but she tried to make it seem like they got in because they were non-white and they were trying to fill a quota. So when you hear stories like that and you do a little bit of digging and you start to pull this stuff up, and it's like, oh, it all makes sense now. It's not because they couldn't get in because they weren't selected or because their scores were good and they just got overlooked. It's because their scores were bad and they just weren't better than the other students or the ones who got in. And they probably feel that they should get in because they're white or they're privileged, or maybe, and this is the most popular one, because their parents went there and they feel that they should carry on a legacy of continuing to go to the school for generation after generation after generation. That's really all it boils down to. So this white guy right here, as old and crusty as he is, was threatened by this young individual right here because he got into Harvard. Now I got a question for him. What school did he go to? What institution did he graduate from? Because if it wasn't Harvard University, then he should have kept his mouth shut. And even if it was, he still should have kept his mouth shut. Even on an intellectual level, we still threaten them. It really, especially on the intellectual level. I think that one kills them more than the physical. Now, well, maybe so slightly, but it's almost neck and neck on the physical and the psychological, or the mental level, or the mentally, I would say, stimulating level. That's really all I have to say about this. Congratulations to Drake Johnson for his acceptance into Harvard University. Hopefully he does go on and continue to do great things, and just know that it's going to be other people like this guy out here questioning why he is accomplishing what he's accomplishing right now. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.